But I'm so happy to be with you, and I'm so happy to be with everybody. Circle is always a celebration for me because it is a microcosm for everything any of us could want for this planet. And it's only in my limited thinking mind that I ever doubt that there are millions of awake, loving souls, just like you and all of you on this planet. A growing expression of consciousness that is everything we could dream about in that video or in any other way. We don't make as much noise or sell as much advertising on the evening news. So we're not yet represented on the evening news. But we are here. And it's an uplifting feeling beyond any words that I could come up with to feel that and know that. And I feel it. I'm here to celebrate the truth of selflessness and to remind all of us that the reason that we can celebrate MLK, not just as a day, but as a living spirit, is that we are that. We all are that. And to the degree we can celebrate is to the degree that we experience directly some freedom from identification with thought and belief and personal history and labels and all that is temporary. We live these rich human lives with all the play and all the drama and all the diversity. And that's just a gift. But we can't really even fully appreciate that gift without knowing, to some degree at least, that we are transcendent to that. We are beyond that. As one of the lyrics that came through me says, we are that which doesn't come and go. Selflessness, like on MLK Day, or every day of the year for all of you, I know, is something you know directly. We feel wonderful when we are giving and we are experiencing selfless service as something natural, as something we don't even have to think much about. It could be a snowy day and somebody skids off the side of the road and you see a couple people get out of the car, and before you know it, you're out of your car or you're phoning 911 if necessary, and there's a bunch of people pushing that car, and none of them have ever met before. And this is everywhere around the world. When a child falls over on the playground, and I know I work and play with children every day, and they're hurting, I see that it is human nature without a thought for other children to immediately go there and say, can I help you? Oh, that must hurt. And it's just one of 1,001 experiences that we all see and know that human nature from the earliest days is love, is oneness. It's not just a Coke commercial, where they're all holding hands and teaching the world the same. It's real. We are an infinite being, living finite experiences. This is not to, in any way, put down those finite experiences. They are what they are. But to know that they're temporary, and to really see that, and to recognize that the only thing that doesn't change is what we are. Everything else, our relationships, our life circumstances, our bodies. I'm looking in the mirror and I'm going, really? Because I still feel like a kid. But yeah, things are constant. Everything, our next thought, our professional and personal lives, it's just all changing. And the scenery of the entire physical universe is constantly changing. And it's kind of cool, but it's only kind of cool when we're not identified completely with that. The ups and downs of every day, all the emotions, all the fear that can come from feeling as though we are just this fragile little person, this limited little thinking mind. We even know it, to some degree, that that's kind of nowhere to live, because it's challenging, and it's there's a tremendous insecurity there. But when we witness it, just like when we witness anything, when there's some space and we can see, we begin to see what's temporary. What sees is not temporary. What really knows it and what says there must be something more is not part of that dream. When we dream, our minds temporarily are fully engaged in the fiction of that dream. And sometimes it's awesome and very pleasant. And sometimes it's not. I have a 5-year-old. It's hard to believe. I have a 5-year-old. And he tells me about his dreams. And last night he was upset going to bed because he was grumpy. And I get grumpy too when I'm really tired, but I know it. And he's telling me, he says, I'm so sad and everything. I said, tell me about your dream again that you had last night. And he told me, and I said, did you feel it? He said, yeah, I was scared. And then I said, did it stay? He goes, no. I said, even though your body felt it and you were all in it, then it just didn't stay. I said, it's the same way with this grumpiness before you go to bed. He says, I want to get rid of it. I said, take a deep breath. I can't. I said, just take a little breath and hold it. Okay. So then I grabbed something and I held it with him. It was one of his toys. And I said, just tell me. He's going, I said, tell me something about the toy. He said, oh, it's so fuzzy and furry. And then within 10, 15 seconds, he was perfectly okay. Because not so much that I had planted a seed for the future that I see growing in my other children, but because in that moment, he was in that moment, and he had left the confines of this belief that he had that this is the way it is. I'm grumpy, I'm sad, and life sucks. He wouldn't say that, but he's 5. So then this 5-year-old, he experiences that. And I don't know how many times that'll be repeated, but I know from my other children that that seed is planted and that it grows. And then they begin to tell me what it's like to be present in their own words, as a 12-year-old or as a 19-year-old or whatever. All of us began this human experience as pure awareness. I mean, talk about the word birthright, right? We all began as selflessness. There's no self in that infant. And when we look into the child's eyes, it's not just the cutosity overload of that little baby. It's the mirror of pure consciousness looking back at you. And of course, every time I come to Circle, every face I see, including the Zoomers, that's what I see coming out of your eyes. And when we, as Susan said, when we forget, that's not really a problem. We may think it's a problem, but in the same way as in a meditation, you get lost in thought, and then you gently come back to watching your next breath. You could come back 100 times. Who needs to judge? Every day, when we forget, we take that next breath. And then we are in the only moment there ever really is anyway, which is this moment. It's only in the thinking mind that there is the dream of time. So let me share with you what I'm working and playing with children with one conscious, mindful, deep breath right now for everybody. So there's a number of ways that we can enjoy it. One is you take a deep breath and you feel the cool air at the tip of your nose. Breathe in, everybody. And we breathe out. If you want to put your hand here, you can feel, if you have a mask, you know it's warm coming out. So it's cool going in and warm going out. And we can follow one conscious breath all the way through the inhale and all the way through the exhale. Here we go, all together. Now, our thinking minds, that which judges or labels or whatever would say, come on, Peter, what the heck was that, right? What could that be? How profound could that be? And I don't expect or want anyone to believe anything today. I want you to know it. And almost all of you do. So I'm just here to celebrate it with you. So one conscious deep breath in the middle of a life circumstance when you're not sure what to do or say next is magic. It is physiologically and it is spiritually. The physiology of it is that and Annette is one of the mindfulness teachers in the mindful experience. And we talk about this with children. When you take that deep breath, you're giving your brain time to leave this fight, which for the rest of us is the amygdala. Sometimes that's where it's going on for a few moments. Fight, freeze, fight. Just giving yourself 4 or 5 seconds, which is what the full deep breath can take, has those impulses go to the frontal lobe where we reflect. We have this gift of this frontal lobe where we can make a conscious choice as an individual human being, as much as an individual human being as we are at that moment. And then we are coming from a different place. We're coming from a different space. And no one is going to say, well, come on, you can't breathe. Get on with it, right? Then no one is even going to know we're doing it. So in any moment of stress, a negative stress, in any moment of uncertainty, one conscious deep breath. And it is life-changing. I'm so blessed to be with children and to be in a position to plant these seeds, because as an individual human being, we certainly learn and deepen in whatever it is that we're offering. We can't do it in any other way. And so I offer this to you. They love this one too, and they teach this in public schools. Everyone, hand on your heart, hand on your tummy. Deep breath, just like we did. Follow it with your consciousness. And sigh. Now, we sigh anyway. My wife had a chiropractor who was from China, and he would go, "Why do you sigh?" She still says that whenever I sigh. She says, "Something's going on with you." I just heard, "Why you sigh?" We sigh anyway, but now we're sighing consciously as a relaxation response. It's a gift of self-compassion to release something that we're feeling that is something we're choosing not to feel. So once again, here we go one more time. This is called the anchor breath in the second step program, which is the social emotional learning program in the public schools. It's so awesome that's being taught in the public schools. It's called anchor because we anchor our awareness in our body. The body has nothing to do in this situation with the thinking mind, and it is a release from whatever it is that's stressing us out, which is whatever thought is stressing us out. So here we go again. Now, if I can see everyone here and everyone here smile. Oh, it's beautiful. Oh my God. When you smile, you get endorphins. You get a shot of endorphins the same way as when you laugh. It doesn't even matter if you're faking it. And so this breath, which combines one conscious deep breath, attention anchored in the body, and relaxation response from the sigh, and the shot of endorphins, which is just a perk, is awesome. And the whole thing happens in seconds. And children in their most formative years are learning this. So talk about hope for the planet. So there are a wonderful mindful practices, and mindfulness is, as a reminder, paying attention on purpose. Paying attention on purpose to this moment, which is where life actually is, without judgment, without labeling, without reactivity. Whatever is here, paying attention to it with more kindness, with more understanding and compassion, and with childlike curiosity, so that we become the space which we are, the space in which it happens. Whoa. We become the timeless, formless consciousness that looked out of our eyes when we were babies and that we could not possibly ever lose. But we are that. We can forget. And when we forget, we have any number of mindful breaths. We have any number of beautiful practices that you may already know, just to come back. But just to watch a breath or two is a very simple and natural way. It's like a walking meditation. It's like we are living a meditation 24/7. No matter what the external circumstances, we can come back without judgment or reactivity or kind of self-abuse, any more than you would sit in a meditation and go, "This is just a lousy meditation. And after all this practice, how can I be so cool?" Right? You can see the insanity of that. Instead, we go, "Oh." And we see those thoughts and we look at them with, I've heard this, like a mother knows, or any adult knows, with compassion for a child who is losing it. When our thoughts are losing it, be that mama, which has an understanding that this is temporary and that this will come and go, and that you are that which doesn't come and go. And so you just have love and you just nurture those instead of fighting them and adding fuel to noise in our heads. And this peace and this love, as individual, temporarily individual human beings, is what changes the planet for Martin and for John and Bobby and all the people who gave themselves. Mahatma. We are that, and we are that light. Thank you for having me, and thank you for your attention, because it's my attention. Thank you for your consciousness, because it's everything in everyone's consciousness. Namaste.